I stood there on the curb, the cold eating into my fingers as I gripped the straps of my duffel bag, glancing at the house I'd called home for 20 years. My name's Griffin Ward, 45 years old. Until last Tuesday, I thought I had a life, worth something. The streetlight flashed above me, sending jagged shadows over the crumbling pavement, and I could still hear the thud of the front door slamming shut behind me. Karen, my wife, or at least the lady I'd shared a bed with for 2 decades, hadn't even looked me in the eye when I told her I'd lost my job. Finally, she muttered under her breath, like she'd been waiting for an excuse to cut me loose. Her voice was sharp, like a knife she'd been sharpening for years, and I felt every inch of it twist in my gut. But it was Alina, our daughter, who dealt the real blow. "You're useless to us now, Dad," she murmured, her 19-year-old face frigid as stone, her arms crossed like she was defending herself from me. Useless. The word hit me harder than the November wind whipping through my jacket. 10 minutes later, I was out here, exiled with nothing but a bag of clothes and a briefcase they didn't even bother to ask about. They should have asked. They should have cared. Because inside that dusty leather case, buried amongst old receipts and a half-dead pen, was a check for $8 million. A secret I'd been carrying for 3 days. I repeated the scene in my mind as I stood there, the weight of it all sinking in. I'd come through the door that afternoon, my shoulders sagging after the meeting at Bishop Robotics, where they'd handed me the pink slip. 22 years with that company, and they let me go like I was nothing. I'd been honest with Karen. I always was. They downsized me, I stated, my voice firm even though my chest felt hollow. I expected her to ask how we'd manage, maybe even hug me, like she used to, when things got tough. Instead, she turned away, swirling her coffee like I'd just informed her of the weather. "Finally," she said. I thought I'd misheard her at first. "What?" I asked, getting closer. She didn't repeat it. She didn't need to. The look in her eyes, contempt, maybe relief, said it all. Alina was splayed on the couch, browsing her phone. I glanced her way, hoping for something softer. "Kiddo, I'll figure this out," I said, trying a smile. She didn't even look up. "You're useless to us now, Dad." She said it like she was reading from a script. My heart stopped for a second, like someone had punched me square in the chest. I waited for her to take it back, to laugh, to say she didn't mean it. She didn't. Karen simply nodded, like they'd already discussed this amongst themselves. "You should go," she said, pointing to the door. "We don't need you dragging us down." I didn't argue. Maybe I should have. Maybe I should have yelled, demanded they hear me out, told them about the money right then and there, but I didn't. I packed a suitcase, shirts, socks, a toothbrush, like some kind of robot, my hands moving while my thoughts swirled. The whole time. They watched me. Karen with her arms folded, Alina with her phone back in her face. Not a word of consolation, not a single doubt about where I'd sleep. I grabbed my briefcase last, the one I'd taken to work every day, and walked out. The door clicked shut, and I heard the lock turn. That was it. 20 years of marriage, 19 years of fatherhood. Gone in 10 minutes. I stood there on the curb, the duffel bag heavy in one hand, the briefcase heavier in the other, and I felt the earth tilt under me. How did it come to this? How could the woman I'd loved since we were youngsters, the girl I'd raised from diapers, treat me like trash they could dump out? The street was quiet, just the buzz of a car passing now and then. I looked back at the house one more time. The lights were on, warm and yellow, like nothing had changed inside. But everything had. I could have gone back. Could have banged on the door, waved that check in their faces, watched them rush to take it all back. But I didn't move. Something stopped me. Maybe pride, maybe rage, maybe the need to know what they'd do without me. They didn't know about the money. They didn't know that 3 days earlier I'd gone from a middle-class nobody to a millionaire overnight. They thought I was broke, shattered, worthless, and I let them think it. I transferred the suitcase to my other hand, feeling the edges of that check press against the leather. $8 million. A fortune they'd never see unless I wanted them to. I turned away from the house, my breath fogging in the air, and started walking. I didn't know where I was heading. Not yet. But I knew one thing. They'd made their choice. Now it was my turn to make mine. I didn't know what it was, but for the first time in several weeks, I felt seen. Not as a husband, a father, a paycheck. Just me. The apartment was starting to feel like home. I'd wake up early, prepare coffee in the nice machine I'd bought, and stand by the window with my telescope, watching the stars fade into morning. I'd play the piano, fumbling through chords I'd learned online, the sound filling the empty space. The art on the walls, some of Cale's, some from galleries I'd explored, made the place mine, not ours. I didn't miss the old house. Not truly. It had been Karen's territory, her curtains, her regulations, her frigid stares. This was different. I'd sit on the leather couch I picked out, sip whiskey I never would have bought before, and think about how far I'd come from that curb. The $8 million was in a new account, quietly growing. And Lorraine, my lawyer, was handling the divorce papers. She'd called that morning, her voice crisp. "Karen's pushing for alimony," she said. "Thinks she's entitled." "We'll let her think that, for now." I didn't care what Karen thought. She could dance in her freedom all she wanted. I had mine, right here. Cale showed up, one evening with a bottle of wine and a grin. "Housewarming," he murmured, walking inside. He didn't gawk at the home, didn't ask how I'd financed it. Just dropped onto the couch and poured us glasses. We spoke late. About art. About being rejected. About beginning again. "You ever miss them?" he asked, swirling his wine. I thought about it, staring at the crimson in my drink. "Sometimes," I murmured, "but not enough to go back." He nodded, like he got it. We clinked glasses. It hit me then. Cale was the first person in years who didn't want something from me. Not money, not status, just company. Karen and Alina had taken me for granted, measured me by what I could provide. Cale didn't. He saw the guy under the mess, and that was enough. I took him to the elevator, the building quiet around us. "Thanks," I said. Not sure what for. "Maybe everything?" He shrugged. "Anytime, man. Keep painting." The doors closed, and I went back upstairs. The flat, warm and still. I stood by the telescope, looking out at the night, and felt something shift. This wasn't just a place. It was a life. One I was building, piece by piece, sans their shadows. The $8 million had bought the walls, but Cale, the art, the piano, they filled them. Karen and Alina could keep their celebration, their residence, their lies. I had something better now. I had me. I sat on my new leather couch, the apartment quiet except for the hum of the city outside. My phone lay on my knee. It was a Tuesday night, 2 weeks since I'd moved here, and I'd been restless all day. My name's Griffin Ward, 45, and I'd been carrying a weight I couldn't shake. The $8.3 million was safe in my story. My divorce papers were with Lorraine, and my life was starting to feel like mine again. But Karen and Alina, they were still out there, living like I'd never mattered, dancing on the ashes of what we'd shared. I'd witnessed their freedom smash online, watched them toast to a life without me, and it gnawed at me. Not because I wanted them back. I didn't. But because they felt they'd won. They thought I was broken, destitute, a nobody they could forget. They didn't know about the money, the apartment, the man I was becoming, and that's when I decided to do it. I grabbed my phone, unlocked the camera, and pushed record. No script, no plan, just me and the truth. The day I lost my job, I said, my voice steady, my face off screen. I told my family. They kicked me out. Labeled me useless. What they didn't know? I'd just earned $8 million. I stopped there, kept it short, and uploaded it to X. No names, no faces, only the facts. Then I waited. It took less than an hour. I'd poured a whiskey, nestled by the window with my telescope. And then, my phone started ringing. Alerts, likes, retweets, comments piling up like snow in a storm. I opened the app. And there it was. My clip, viral, spreading faster than I thought. Holy crap, this guy's a legend, someone wrote. Kicked out with $8 million in his pocket. Iconic. The numbers climbed. 10,000 views, then 50,000, then 100,000 in a day. People were tagging me, asking for the full story, begging for a face to the voice. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The internet did the work for me. By Wednesday morning, I had emails, podcast hosts, a local news channel, even a guy pitching me a book deal. Millionaire underdog, he wrote. I chuckled, sipping my coffee. But I didn't reply. I wasn't ready for the spotlight. Not yet. What I wanted was already happening. I scrolled X again, and that's when I saw it. The reaction hitting Karen and Alina. Their accounts weren't hard to find. Karen's was public. Plenty of selfies. Captions about living her best. Life, Alina's was flashier. Dance videos, outfit shots, the kind of content that got her thousands of followers. I hadn't checked them since the party.